that is the one thing that if you actually learn how to access that inner authority, you can make it stronger. And that's one of the most important things to manifest is your inner authority.
What would be the best way to let them know what human design is?
Human design is sort of the balancing of the equation in terms of spirituality.
Fresh into season three, which I never in my wildest dreams would have thought like season three of my podcast. And I'm putting it out there like we're going for funding this season. We're going to get a studio this season. Like we're going big this season. So I am so excited to have you as the first episode opening up season three. And I'm just so grateful, like I said when we were talking a second ago, that you were more than open. Like I messaged him, don't even know you. Like I just honestly, people recommended you. Like I put a poll up and I was like, who do you guys want to see on season three? And a couple people said you. And I was like, okay, so bam. And then you just like were so gracious and agreed. So here we are. So we have Reiki Marco, known on Instagram. And is that your TikTok handle as well?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So
Everywhere.
Reiki Marco is in the building virtually. So let us know, let everyone know who doesn't know you or might know you a little bit more about yourself and what you do.
Right on. Well, I'm a 32-year-old living in Maui, so I'm living the dream. I've got a family. I've got a 2-year-old and another baby on the way as of June 10th. They should be here soonish. We are living, me and my partner. I'm a reflector 3-5 on the cross of rulership. My partner is a 5-1 projector splenic authority, and my daughter is a 5-1 emotional manifester. So our family is like literally a bad human design joke.
No.
Uh, and yeah, we live very simply. I started practicing Reiki back in 2012. I basically dropped out of college and was like, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing here, but I know that I'm not supposed to be like racking up a bunch of debt and just kind of like mindlessly moving through the assembly line of, cogs within the whole like capitalist bureaucratic structure system. And I didn't know what I was going to do when I dropped out, but I dropped out in 2012 and I was just severely depressed, very, very skinny. And my mom took me to a Reiki healer. And I was like, what is Reiki, Mom? Like, I don't know what that is. And I just one phone call and I was like, okay, I'll check this out. And I kid you not, I laid on down on the table and it was like I had been held underwater my entire life. And during that session, I was able to come up for air. And so that was kind of like my rebirth moment or my awakening journey. Started with a Reiki session, which for those people that don't know, Reiki is very popular now, but essentially Reiki operates on this idea that life helps life. And so when you create space for life to just happen, that's where all the healing comes from. That's where all the miracles come from. And it's really easy to fill the spaces of life up the same way you would like fill your couch with a bunch of pillows and then wonder why people aren't sitting on your couch. It's like I had to make a lot of space. So I stopped consuming a lot of the conspiracy theories YouTube rabbit hole, and I started learning about meditation and chakras and just very, very simple stuff, healthy eating. But I was really in this place of like wanting to develop myself spiritually without recognizing the physicalness that also needed to be developed. And so that happened quite a few years later down the road. I went like super spiritual, yogi, bendy, festival, Reiki Marco. And then I started getting into like men's work, combat. I've always been a martial artist. I started martial arts when I was like probably like 8 years old. And then that like reinvigorated sort of after I had this sort of like realizing my spirituality was very fragile because I wasn't developing my body. And so now where I'm at is I'm in a place where I have, a family, and I also have a online community called the Archive, where we basically blend spirituality with somatic healing and functional training. So we're trying to like bridge the worlds because there's people on like far ends of the spectrum, either promoting heavy spirituality and like nothing physical, or heavy physical and nothing spiritual, and very, very popular in those ways. And we're like, where are the people in between? And
Mhm.
so we use kind of, again, human design as the bridge to be walking people across from spirituality to fitness and health and physicality, and then vice versa. And that's kind of where I am. I'm obsessed with this stuff. It's so fascinating, and having a child really has helped me to see how so much of this developmental lack in society and so many of the emotional, mental, and even physical problems, identity problems, all kinds of stuff, all the quote unquote problems that we have, really are result of a lack of full development as children. Being told to
Mhm.
be quiet when we're kids, or don't run around, or don't wrestle, or, even like further along, mean kids saying like, oh, you shouldn't sing, your voice sucks, or your dance moves are lame, all this stuff. So I'm kind of like out here being the big brother of everyone's inner child, if they'll let me. And yeah,
Oh.
we're having a lot of fun while we're doing it, making a lot of jokes, touching on a bunch of serious stuff, but then also like keeping it light because I believe laughter is definitely one of the greatest medicines that we have.
Yeah, like don't take it too seriously. It's not a dress rehearsal. Like we're here for the blink. It's like a little blimp of time, a blink of an eye, and on
Exactly.
to whatever's next.
Hmm.
I love that, the big brother to everyone's little child, inner child. That is so amazing.
Hmm.
And tapping, I'm so big on, because when I was little, my cousins were so rambunctious. I grew up with a lot of boys,
Oh yeah.
and all my tias and tios were like, it was physical. Like you're getting a spanky, you're going on timeout, and it was just like. And my mom did the best she could with the tools she had, but she really had a lot of unconditional love for a lot of us. And regardless of how outspoken or rambunctious or whatever these kids were, she was very like unconditionally loving to all of them. And I see a lot of parents nowadays like referring to astrology, human design, and whatnot. Like I look at my kids all the time and where they're at in their development. They're 14 and 15. And so it's like at the peak of them really stepping into their power and whatnot, into who they
Hmm.
are. And I'll look at their human designs and I'm like, "Ugh, I got to facilitate the process, but not obsess over it and try to, because, I have my goals and obviously I want the best for them, but trying not to like, because I got such a behind the scenes knowledge of what their little lives look like right now, and by the grace of God, what they will look like in the future. So, really interesting the way that you put all that. I love it. When it comes to human design and yourself, I like to say like it's a cheat code to our life and it's the one-stop shop. Like you could skip a lot of other modalities and go straight to human design and really get like the insight of the way you can best operate in this life, because I thoroughly believe that all of our experiences are opportunities, not obstacles. And it's, a matter of, are you looking at life like it's happening for you or to you? And human
Hmm.
design really gives you a peek into that. So when it comes to talking to clients that are new to this or they have a lot of questions, what would be the best way to let them know what human design is?
Yeah, human design is sort of the balancing of the equation in terms of spirituality. There's a lot of new age ideology and spiritual ideology that is like you're this creator consciousness and you have this unlimited potential. And it's not that you don't, but you also live in a physical body with physical limitations. And so, in order to see those physical limitations and the areas where your infinity can be channeled without blowing out your light bulb, that's kind of what it is. So it's the parameters by which we are able to manifest our signature, which is what we're here to do. Satisfaction, that's your signature. My signature being like surprise, success, peace. These are different, how you say, ideals that we all want. And ultimately, it's a sign that, like, oh, the car engine is on, the engine is working perfectly, versus the not self, frustration, anger, disappointment, bitterness. Those are the engine is making noise. So it's a very, again, a balancing of the equations in the sense that human design offers us this perspective of you have no choice. This is the body
Mm,
that you're in. These are the centers that you can rely on. And these centers, these undefined centers, these are the ones that you're just going to pick up stuff from other people. And again, you don't have a choice. So, what would happen if you didn't have a choice? And instead of being this creator consciousness, you are co creating with others here on this material plane? What does that look like? And so, it's sort of like, again, the schematics or the blueprints of your physical body. Um, because that is one of the things that gets left behind in the pursuit of spirituality. Everyone is looking to transcend their bodies, to become more spiritual, to elevate themselves, to enlighten themselves. And because of that, there's so much darkness that has no light workers that are able to stand it. And so for me, human design is an invitation to surrender to the body. And it's also an invitation to collaborate and co-create with people on a level that's not, I see you and I want you to do this for me because I think you need to do this and you wouldn't be in, again, it's not this like creator trying to like manipulate people. It actually
Hmm.
gives us permission to unmanipulate ourselves and again, descend into the form. And you're totally right about it being a cheat code. It's like going straight to the end boss of a video game because again, I've done a lot of, and not that these other systems that I'm about to mention aren't useful. Even a lot of them are actually used in human design, like astrology and the I Ching and the Kabbalah and the chakra system. But I've
Hmm.
done so many different things and the community, the level of sovereignty, the level of again surrender and actual understanding that can come from properly being introduced and using human design. It's, I look around at a lot of other systems and there's not necessarily that same sort of like character arc that
Hmm.
happens when someone goes into a human design experiment because again it's very not fluffy at all. It's very
Yeah.
pointed. You mentioned that word obstacle. It's like I know how to use obstacle. I love finding obstacles like tax obstacles, relationship obstacles, great. Because in human design, that's literally the
Hmm.
box that you stand on to get the length of the jump that you need to move through the next part of your life. So,
Hmm.
um, yeah, that's human design in a nutshell.
That perfectly put. And the second part of all that is, and I tell clients, I do tarot readings, I do intuitive coaching,
Yeah.
not as much like the podcast is my baby. Like this is everything for me. But when I'm in sessions, I tell people I could pull a million cards, I could give you a million coaching sessions. If you're not willing to take the inspired action and to apply what you're getting out of this, whether it's human design, tarot, whatever it is that you're using, it's pointless because you could take a horse to water, you can't make it drink. And one of the first human design readings I got was after my certification program for spiritual life coaching. And she told me, she gave me the cheat codes. And almost 3 years later, I'm like, oh, I see. I see what she was saying. I had it in my hands, but I still had to go through my human journey and my process and ego. A lot of it's ego. And ego is not a bad thing, but I think I feel human design could really help us manipulate ego to work for the greater good of ourselves and all involved. What are your thoughts on ego and human design?
100%. And actually, in human design, ego is sort of has a different definition. And so, like for instance, one of the points of the ego is materialism. It is hierarchy. It is who's in control, who's the best. You actually yourself have a channel that is comprised of alertness in the spleen. So it's like a ringing in the ears or knowing what's safe. It's a remembrance of what happened in the past and the effort or the awareness of like that could happen again in the future to safeguard against that. That connects to another gate called Gate 26, which is taming power of the great. It's literally the will to be the best. So it's you're it's this channel of surrender of this happened before. This is how we are the best. And it's like every time you say I'm doing this podcast, this is my baby. I love it because to me, I'm able to recognize the difference between a healthy ego, like we're in the process of doing it, and a non-healthy ego, which would
Mhm.
be trying to exert control over people rather than controlling yourself, trying to be better than other people rather than just knowing you're the best and setting out to be the best, right? And so when it comes to ego, the ego is like the thing that drives your car. It's the thing that opens up your computer and knows your passwords, that engages on social media, right? It's like it's not an evil thing. It's just the automatic thing. The
Yeah.
real problem is that you've made things automatic that are not healthy for you or not harmonious for what you want or not in line with your vision. And so that's why a lot of people are against the ego or they're trying to kill their ego is because their ego has just habitualized a bunch of things that are not inherent to them. Like, for
Mhm.
instance, with your body graph, right, you have an undefined solar plexus. That's where we process emotions. You have an undefined throat. That's where we manifest and we speak from. So if you're constantly processing other people's emotions or saying things just to get attention, you're never actually processing your own emotions. You're never actually saying the things that you mean. That causes blocks in the emotional center. That causes blocks in the throat. Those manifest as the inability emotionally to handle emotions, both your own and others, and also this choking on your words or just blurting things out, not being able to hold things down. And so the ego for you being a defined center is if you're not actually engaged in the parts of your life that are like, hey, this is worth pursuing. I want to pursue this. I want to feel good. I want to get to the top of the mountain, take a picture and post it. And I want people to see me doing this. That is so much of what is, how you say, driving us and keeping people alive are the
Mhm.
hierarchies and the egos. And again, the automatic stuff. Now, the real question, of course, is like, how can we get back to the sort of like natural version of ourselves versus the person and we think we need to be, because again, that's what mostly people's egos are running on is what do I think I need to be? I'm going to compete with people. I'm going to prove myself, but not to anybody that actually matters, to
Yeah.
literally the people that matter the least in my life, as
Mm-hmm.
opposed to the people that matter the most. So yeah, so ego for me, my ego is my best friend. And I remember um, being younger and people be like, "Oh, you're so confident, you're so confident," and then it started turning into like, "Oh, Marco, you're a little conceited," and it's like, "Oh, really? Okay." And so and then I would just dim, 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 and that hit me really, really hard. And it wasn't
Mm-hmm.
until I would say about 5 or 6 years ago that I met some people that like, "Hey, Mark, I don't know who told you that you're conceited, but you're not, bro. Like you're just healthy and you're brilliant and you're smart and you're strong." And so that's when that like again that inner child started to come back online, and rather than like, oh, I don't want to be too big. Sometimes what I realize, what there's certain places that will intentionally or unintentionally, a lot of places, especially spiritual places, unintentionally keep people in their community small because they don't know how to handle their bigness, because
Yeah.
they haven't explored their own bigness or
Mm-hmm.
radiance or spectrum. And this all comes back down to the nervous system. Like, oh, I get triggered, right? When this
Mm-hmm.
person does this, rather than, yo, I get really activated when you do this, taking
Ooh.
accountability for the lack of nervous system regulation that I have. And there's
Wow.
like, you can step away from a conversation, but recognize that it's like, if you can't take the heat, it's because you can't take the heat, not because I'm too hot.
I feel attacked right now. Can we move on? Next subject. No. That's a
Wonderful.
really big one. That's a really, really big one. And a big thing I've been talking to friends about lately is I was blessed enough to quit my job and to put a lot into starting all of this and sitting back this last year and being like, why is it not super popping off? Like it should be pop. What is going on? Because it's
Mm-hmm.
always the big question, right? What am I missing? What tools do I need? Not why is this happening to me? I say this in almost every episode. If you ask why this is happening, you're going to be reminded why it's happening versus what tools do I need? What is my lesson? How
Hmm.
can I get out of it? And it was the subconscious. It's like if your subconscious, neuroplasticity, all that fun stuff is programmed in that inner child way, where it's who were you before everyone dimmed your light? When you were too bright for everyone and they dimmed your light, who were you then, right before that happened? So going back to the reason we came to this beautiful planet Earth that has just so many opportunities to overcome obstacles. And one of my favorite areas of the human design is the incarnation cross. For me, that's like a really big like cheat code. And I was like, and that's like what the lady had told me in my reading. And again, I could give you all the tools. If you can't use them, they're pointless. So when you talk to people when in regards to the incarnation cross and ego and this life journey, what is something that you tell them to help navigate the space?
One of the first things that I do with all of my clients is kind of introduce them to the concept of like how we process reality. Because again, that's what human design is sort of showing us. Like it's showing us how we manifest reality. But in order to manifest something, you have to be able to bring something into your system. And so it's a three-part system. It's afferent feedback, which is getting information through the senses into your body, swallowing that, which is part of processing, the same way we process food, same way we process emotions. We have to see something, hear something, feel something, bring it into our system. Second step is processing, which has to do with pressure and heat. So having the right amount of pressure, having the right amount of heat. And it's not something that you can think about. It's not like, oh, 100 degrees Fahrenheit and this many units. It's something that you have to feel. It either feels like the right pressure or feels like the right heat. And there's a difference between your mind saying this is the right heat, this is the right pressure, and what actually is the right heat and right pressure. So it's really a process of getting people out of their head and intellectualizing everything and dropping them into their body. Because same thing with the incarnation cross. The idea with the incarnation cross is this is your personality and design, sun and earth. These are the four most important gates. And the words of it are very helpful for people, but they don't actually upgrade and allow your nervous system to process the things that you need to process to actually fulfill the incarnation cross. The whole point of
Mm,
strategy and authority is so that you can use your strategy and authority to manifest your incarnation cross, but without using your strategy and authority and without feeling safe, using strategy and authority, and also without needing other people to make you feel safe. Because it's easy to use
Mm.
your strategy and authority with people that um, love you and respect your boundaries. It's very hard to do that when someone doesn't respect your boundaries and to hold your
Yeah.
own. And that's where the real test is. And so the last step after you've processed information is to manifest it. That's efferent feedback. And that is in the form of how we walk, how we run, how we throw, how we stand, how we posture, and how we hold ourselves. And so for everyone, it's like, hey, before we get into the nuances of it, let me just help you unglue your eyes from your skull so that way you can see things clearly. Let me show you how to contain pressure in your lips when and move your head around without losing the pressure so that you can process things without again running away from them, because we'll confuse things like peace and boredom, we'll confuse tension and intuition, we'll confuse discomfort with this is killing me when it's actually just
Mm.
kind of uncomfortable. And until you face the fact that, oh, I can't tolerate this discomfort, you're never going to be able to stand in it and then get yourself away from it, leverage and push yourself away from it. So when it comes to the incarnation cross and ego, again, it's like you were saying, the obstacle is the way. This is the thing that we need to leverage off of. We need to figure out like which direction is hardest for you, and then we need to put you in that direction and put you in that space. And so it's like microdosing fear, microdosing
Mhm.
the thing that you constantly run away from. So again, so you can start to cultivate a sense of safety within yourself, because especially with like incarnation cross, it's like a
Mhm.
very big thing. And it's very important too, because no one has um, the combination that each of us have in terms
Mhm.
of our body graphs are very unique snowflakes, but then the journey that those snowflakes take into the world in terms of the conditioning that your parents give you, the conditioning that school gives you, it's this unique little web that before we start to untangle it, it's like what we got to do is just start to recognize and see the way that it was tangled, because that's what a lot of people do is
Mm.
they'll untangle it really quick, they'll be in a rush to untangle it, and then they'll either make it worse or they'll be free for a couple months and then they'll be right back in the same tangle, because again they're trying to like rip something out of them rather than
Mhm.
just like integrate it and dissolve it. And our bodies are the most supreme forms of technology on the planet, more so than AI, more so than anything else. And it's very, how you say, exciting to be in a time where there's the ability to share a message like this, where it's like, hey, you actually have the hottest piece of technology on the planet. You just got to charge it up beyond 4%.
That part.
Yeah.
And why are you still sleeping on your potential? I'm here to disrupt your spiritual programming. I'm so excited to finally share that my Patreon is open. This is where the real work begins. You can get access to me one-on-one via Patreon, exclusively available for paid members. You'll get weekly intuitive insights, journal prompts, and a community where we uplift each other. Join us on Patreon. Your evolution is waiting.
Right.
That is, and I mean, there's, like I said, we talked about the cheat codes in human design. There's so many to them. One of them, I think it's how the is it strategy, how you respond, like
Uh-huh.
figuring out your answer.
Yep.
That is one of my favorite ones because growing up the way that I grew up, like in very poor, food stamp baby, Medi-Cal, all that fun stuff, there was a lot of lack instilled in me growing up. So
Mm,
when I'm responding to experiences, questions, people, whatever it is, tapping into that area of my human design and learning how to trust myself. Because I think that's a really big one in life too. How can
mhm,
you trust yourself to make the right choices when you feel like you haven't before? So, how
mhm.
would you guide a client in showing them their human design in regards to trusting themselves?
Yeah, so again, a lot of it is just like taking them to the edge. So like one of the things that we'll do, for instance, with like strategy, and especially for a generator, it's about connecting your digastrix, which is like this squishy part in here, to your
Mm-hmm.
pelvic floor. And so one of my favorite exercises to do with people is you just take your fist and you kind of drag up and you're kind of like pulling your chin forward. And then what you
Mm-hmm.
do is without clenching your teeth, you just
Mm-hmm.
kind of pull your head down, and it should make your neck wider. This is going to open
Mm-hmm.
up your throat, like you're pulling your chin forward, and that
Yeah.
allows your throat to go backwards. And so one of the things about the blocked throat is literally, it's like a choked throat. It's a closed airway. And so doing exercises like this, it's like your sacral is responding, especially if you have a
Mm-hmm.
defined sacral, right? Like you're getting these, what happens usually is they either get caught in the solar plexus or they get caught in the blood or the heart or they get caught in the throat. Like,
Mm-hmm.
look, again, it's a map. It's like if you want to go to the throat from the sacral, which is where your strategy is for 70% of the population, is you have to open up these channels that give you access. And for the sacral, it's the pelvic floor, it's the sex organs, it's that creative juices. And if you don't open up physically the airways
Mm-hmm.
and the esophagus, then unfortunately that's always where the sacral energy is going to get trapped. And so for a lot of people, some of the exercises I'll do aside from that, we couple that with like butthole breathing. So like every time
Mm-hmm.
you smell, you breathe in. You like kind of like pull your rectum up a little
Mm-hmm.
bit. Again, just getting these parts of your body to talk. Another less physical exercise is to do calibrations. So, and
Mm-hmm.
this is one thing that like totally changed the game for me. And I'm a non-sacral person. I'm a reflector. So I do not have a defined sacral. So my strategy is not respond with my gut because my gut will sometimes give me the responses of other people, but I still
Mm-hmm.
have a gut. And so it's
Yeah.
it's it's helped me become more familiar with my and somebody else's and and my mental and And
Mm-hmm.
so the practice is very, very simple. And I have a whole playlist on TikTok called Sacral Calibrations that if anyone wants more of these, they can just go there and there's a bunch of them. But basically, and I'll do it with you since you're
Mm-hmm.
a generator, I'll ask you some questions. I won't get too personal. I just want you to respond with some sacral sounds. Sound good?
Okay.
All
Okay.
right. Are you outside? There you go. There you
Mm-hmm.
go. Okay, great. Do you have a dog?
Mm-hmm.
Are you wearing shoes?
Mm-mm.
Is your hair in a ponytail?
Mm-mm.
Are you hungry?
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel hot?
Mm-mm.
Are you thirsty?
Mm-mm.
Are you hydrated? Do
Mm-hmm.
you feel healthy?
Mm-hmm.
Are you enjoying yourself?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. Sacred calibration complete. So, as you saw right in the beginning there, it's like we're trained to give the yes sir, yes ma'am, like to respect sort of what's going on externally. And I'm not saying we should disrespect what's going on
Yeah.
externally, but I'm saying we shouldn't disrespect what's going on internally inside
Yeah.
us as a way of bending to the external authority. And that's the other pairing to strategy as authority, which we can get to in a second. But that's one of the biggest things because again, when someone is asking you, especially as a generator, an open-ended question like, "Oh, what do you want to get? What do you want to get for food?" Like, what am I responding to?
Mm-hmm.
Like versus like, do you want burgers? Do you want a salad? Do you want a steak? Do you want barbecue? Like giving options for generators, it's one of the ways that, again, people can make it easier for you. But the reality is, as a generator walking around, someone hits you with this question like, hey, so, what do you want to do today? As a generator, you don't just be like, oh, I don't know, or like, what do you want to do today? You say,
Mm-hmm.
hey, what can you give me some options? What is it that
Yeah.
you want to do? I'll let you know if I want to do some of those things. And then
Yeah.
this way you get to again, this is where living authentically comes from because it's like if your pelvic floor and your sex organs aren't engaged in something, but your mind says, "Oh, let's engage in it." That is the quickest road to frustration. That is the
Yeah.
quickest way. And it's literally your organs that are trying to communicate with you and your mind is like I don't know how to interpret these signals like so and so doesn't want this and the mind is not the decider. It's the
Mm.
organs. This is why so many people are sick because the organs are like,
Wow.
don't go to work, don't show up to this relationship. But someone gets up in their head, it's reinforced by everybody else, and this is where there's so many projections happening. I'm going to project my strategy onto you. Oh, you should listen to your gut more. Meanwhile, I'm not listening to my gut. And that's this one of
Mm-hmm.
the it's one of the how you say, yeah, quickest roads to not self-behavior is to deny the language of the gut especially and there's no excuses, right? Ignorance of the law is not an excuse, but these are not like man-made laws. These are like
Yeah.
actual laws. Like for a tiger to go against its gut, like if a tiger smells something and it's like it's not going to eat it even if it's starving.
Exactly.
And so this
Mm-hmm.
is we're animals, and so we have to tend to our animal self. And so yeah, in terms of strategy, again, there's a lot of different strategies projectors have waiting for the invitation, which is also about organs.
Mm-hmm.
Like yeah, as a projector And if there's any projectors listening, just because you get an invitation doesn't mean that's the right invitation. You still got to check in with your spleen or your solar plexus or even your undefined sacral, right? Is the invitation causing something to be recognized within yourself? Or is this just an invitation and you're so happy to get an invitation because you're a projector that you're just going to jump on every invitation and burn yourself
Hmm.
out? So again, it always comes back. The strategy is just a way to ground us into our bodies as it relates to accessing social situations in life and making sure that we enter into things knowing that there's actually a space for us. And that's so
Hmm.
important and super underrated too. Again, a lot of the stuff is like so simple that when you get
Yeah.
down to it, people are like, "Oh, but what about this situation?" I was like, "Well, what did your gut say?" I'm like, "Oh, I wasn't really thinking about my gut." And I was like, "Yeah, because you were probably thinking about where in your human design chart it shows up." But that's why we obsessively talk about strategy and authority, because it is literally that's the foundation that you build the house on. The
Yeah.
foundation's not good, can't build the house on it, or you can build the house, but the house is going to fall apart.
Yeah, that part, because sustainability, that's
Yep.
something I try to talk to a lot of people about is creating sustainable shifts, sustainable changes. Even when you're
Hmm.
learning, whether it's human design, it's tarot, it's coaching, it's a church, whatever it is spiritually that you're learning, is it something that is sustainable? Because we don't want to set you up for failure. We're trying to set you up for success. And
Hmm.
that's why human design is one of my favorite things because I feel it really does if you're because there's also a level of being aware and open too. There's a level of my last podcast I did, the last podcast of season two was this amazing gal out here in San Diego. Her name is Sarai. And she said when she started her journey, she went into it like, I know nothing. Like, regardless of knowing what I know nothing and everybody's right and I'm wrong. And it was this idea of like genuinely figuring out what is right for you and what isn't right for you. So when it
Hmm.
comes to sustainable shifts with human design and when people come to you and they have a lot to unpack, how do you set them up for success with human design?
One of the first things that I do is I kind of like I pulse them for what is the thing that they're trying to get away from, and then I teach them how to like be okay with that that
Mm.
thing that they're trying to get away from. Because again, it's like you run away from one situation, you run right into another situation. It's a different skin. It might be a lot of times it's partners or careers. And it's like you gotta be able to tolerate where you're at because no matter if you go to Bali and you do this and you do that, you're bringing yourself with you. So the first step is to always learn how to tolerate where you're at before you try and step away from it. And when you do step away from it not because you're running away from something like a gazelle being chased by a tiger, but because you
Yeah.
have something that you actually want to go towards. Like be the tiger hunting its prey, be a predator, don't be prey. And so that's one of the biggest things. And a lot of that is like soothing techniques, working with the ears. But a lot of it is too just recognizing and being able to see clearly. Because we all, it's a matter of fact that the thing you spend time around, you just make your mind up about it, and then that's what the thing is. You don't
Hmm.
necessarily see it very clearly anymore. You're seeing what your mind has habitualizing, and that's where the ego comes in. And so to give somebody, an eye routine, exercises that are specific for their chart, getting them to think about, like, for instance, with you, it would be eye routines while humming. Trying to activate your sacral while freeing up your eyes from their conditioned way of moving around and looking at the world. And so in that for people to unpack things because again there's this like oh I just like I want to start living my life. I want to like be healed and work through this trauma so that I can start living my life. It's like you're living it right now. And what you were mentioning earlier is it reminds me of one of my favorite quotes, which is practice doesn't make perfect, practice makes permanent. And so
Mm.
whatever you practice becomes permanent. And so if you practice getting away from bad situations, the minute you're out of a bad situation, your conditioning is going to start looking for another bad situation so you can flex and get out of it again. So
Yeah.
it's a big like slowing down and sharing the timeline with people, which is like this next 18 months is literally just about you getting comfortable with the situation that you're in right now. It's not about getting somewhere better. It's about accepting where you're at right now. And then, of course, I'll use human design. I'll look at their circuitry and I'll let them know, this is a sideways manifestation of this channel. Like you have the channel of struggle, the channel of exploration, and the channel of surrender. Surrender, struggle, and exploration. So it's about discovering the yin yang elements of where do you struggle in your life and you perceive it as negative. Where do you struggle in your life and perceive it as positive? Where is surrender a negative? Where is surrender a positive? Where is exploration a negative? Where is exploration a positive? And these are just conversations that I'll have with people. And oftentimes they will start trailing off and start explaining things to me. And I will have to be like, hey, shut up. Like, you paid me to show up to keep you, in the line of truth, and this is where we do it. And the mind is so good at this. The mind is
Yeah.
so good at this, and it's rewarded for doing this. It's socially celebrated for doing this. And that's why we have again so many substance abuse issues, emotional problems, like pharmaceutical substance as well, right? Because people don't want to feel again because they think the
Mhm.
mind is too powerful. When in reality, it's like, it's I'm drowning. You're in like 2 feet of water. Just stand up.
Yeah. Literally relax.
Just stand up. Just stand up. So
Hmm.
yeah, it's a fun journey too because again, and this is the concept of co-regulation.
Hmm.
And this is why it's helpful to talk to people. But unless you have someone who knows how to actually say, hey, let's be quiet, let's just feel into what you're feeling. That's one of the
Hmm.
things too about spirituality and coaching, that the words just fill up the space, and meanwhile the person's over here like feeling stuff being talked at still. When it's
Yeah.
like, as a coach, one of the things that I think all of us have to recognize is that there's so much power in like dropping the mic and letting it land, or giving your client or whoever you're working with an opportunity to feel something before you give them the solution to it. And
Yeah.
that's our Western minds that are just like, "Oh, provide value,
Yeah.
provide value."
Yeah, have to be a value, have to be in that sense. I know something that a lot of people give me feedback wise in sessions is they are able to feel very vulnerable and break down and address those shadows.
Hmm.
And something about my presence, I don't know exactly what it is, but I'm sure it's somewhere in there that provides that safety for people. But the opposite side of that is I can really make people itch too, because unknowingly I make you feel your shadows. I shine light on your shadows and stuff that people don't want to address, and they don't have to address it, they don't have to fix it. My being just naturally brings that out of some people, and since I was little, I will irk people. So it's really interesting, and it is, as a kid it bothered me. As an adult, I'm just like, that's, for you to work on. It's not a reflection of me. That's you in your life, in your path. And then another part of that I was thinking of when you were talking is healing really is being able to respond to a situation differently, more with the tools that you have, with a more calm state of mind. And in human design, teach it because you said it perfectly. Like, you could run from the situations forever, but you're forever going to be running. Can you actually sit there and be uncomfortable? And a lot of my family, they admire the fact that I do really hard things. And I'm like, I don't know. I am a student of life, and I see where my areas of power can be, because pain is power. So I just always willingly do very hard things and don't necessarily run from them. I like to say I'm delusional, not dumb. Once I know an area that needs to be fixed, I'm like, okay, got it. Delusion's gone, or I'm not dumb. I see where I'm dumb versus delusion, and I can address it and not run from it anymore. So people that struggle or have the obstacle, the opportunity to overcome areas of their life that they are now realizing that they've been running from and they want to do better, what is something that you would tell them and coach them through with human design to address that?
Great lead into authority, which is contrast between external authority, the church, family, the normal way of doing things, societal's standard, and inner authority, which again is like, what does my spleen have to say about this? Is it sharpening? Is it hardening? Is it getting ready? Is it bracing? Or is it softening? Is it relaxing? And is that appropriate for what's going on? Um, because, what you mentioned in terms of like doing hard things, your family is probably like, why are you doing those things? Like, what, Mikhail, why are you struggling in life? And you're like, dude, that's what life is about. It's about figuring out what is worth struggling for. And you literally have
Hmm.
that, the channel of struggle, right? And exploration and surrender and ego. So it's like the inner authority is one of the most important things to connect with, because it's kind of like the left foot of the right foot. The right foot of strategy, which is like, tap which organ does your strategy exist in? How are you responding to something? The inner authority is what part of you is like your bedrock. What
Mm.
part of you is the final deciding thing? Because the strategy might be present, but if the left foot doesn't go, it's just right foot always, you're just going in circles. Or right
Mm.
paddle, you're just going in circles. And so
Mhm.
you have to have the, again, masculine and feminine, you have to have the right and the left. And the authority is the thing that lets you know whether or not you're empowering yourself or you're empowering something external. And it's not that you always have to empower yourself. The external authority, again, is like the ego. It just gets a bad rap because people don't know how to like stand with themselves and find a new location or find a new place. Like they're trying, it's like a tiger swimming in the ocean being like, you guys should really drain the ocean so that I can swim around better. It's like, just go on land. There's plenty of
Yeah.
space and better food, and you'll be happier there. You'll be in your correct ecosystem. And so when it comes to authority, it's really about the contrast between what is expected of me, who has the power in the external world, and do I have access to an equivalent power that can allow me to be in this world, or am I overpowering this world, or is the world overpowering me? And it's a
Mhm.
dance. It's just like music. Music is not one tempo, one key, like a good DJ set or a good performance. It's a composition of a bunch of songs. And so I
Mhm.
have areas in my life where I'm not the authority. And then I have areas of my life where I am the authority. But I can tell because of a certain type of pressure. Like I know when this part of my body feels compressed, that I'm in the presence of somebody with external authority. It makes me feel small. Does it mean I'm small? Not necessarily in this moment. I'm making myself smaller so that I can learn, right?
Mm.
Or if there's an expansion here, is like, oh, I know I'm the authority. I have more information. I have more experience in this area. I'm recognized as it. That can become an addiction. That's where you see a lot of like spiritual narcissism of people in their
Mhm.
communities. They're just in echo chambers because they're constantly the external authority. Their internal authority is being externalized. Other people are feeding into this loop, and now suddenly they can do no wrong. And so the mind says, like, well, okay, how far can I take this? And then
Mhm.
it starts to, manifest all these like weird little sideways things. And yeah, so in terms of like manifesting the internal authority, again, it's a sensational thing. Like there's only two types really. It's reflectors and mental projectors, which represent like 2-3% of the population that are actually designed to look around and use the external authority to contextualize their inner authority. Most people, like yourself, again, 97, 98% of the population, you have an organ inside you. Whether it's, again, your sex organs as a sacral being, whether it's your spleen, which is your immune system as a splenic being, whether it's your G center, your liver, your heart is your heart, your solar plexus. A lot of people, again, don't realize that it's off to the right in human design, but it's actually
Mhm.
like your celiac ganglia. And a lot of the
Mhm.
reasons why people are struggling with celiac disease is because they don't know how to process their emotions properly. Um,
Wow.
I know, kind of wild. But it's again, it's about pressure and heat. You don't have the right pressure and the right heat to
Mhm.
to cook the emotion. And so learning how to listen, and primarily it's listen to these organs because your stomach will let you know when you have something disgusting in front of you, right?
Mhm.
Your sex organs will let you know when something arousing or something enticing is in front of you. And
Mhm.
one of the things that people get hung up on is not wanting to make mistakes. And as a 3-5, I'm the master of making mistakes. Like I've put my foot more times in my mouth than I've learned to realize. Like, or it's just like more than I've wanted to. But I've recognized that that's a part of my design, and I've
Mhm.
surrendered to that. And so now I'm looking for more opportunities to put my foot in my mouth with little impact, of course. Or I'll do that for myself, or I have friends that will like encourage me into like releasing music or sharing videos or sharing ideas or just being myself. And it's very uncomfortable at times, but over time it becomes more and more comfortable. So manifesting the inner authority at first is a very uncomfortable thing because you have your
Mhm.
family telling you like, oh, you shouldn't struggle, you should have this and that and that. Again, external authority attempting to make my life better, but really just projecting their unmanifested energy onto
Mhm.
onto us and being able to say like thank you, I love you so much, and not necessarily needing to fight them, but
Mhm.
being able to recognize like, oh, that's what that is. They're trying to give me love,
Yeah.
and I can accept that, but I don't have to like listen to what they're saying. I don't have to let their words override my sacral energy because my sacral
Yeah.
wants to struggle. My root wants to struggle. It wants to know
Mhm.
what's worth struggling for. Um, And as I have my brother actually has this same channel of struggle, and he sometimes gets caught up in the head, like, why is it hard? Why is it? And I was like, because if it wasn't hard and it just happened for you, not only would you get bored of it, you wouldn't really understand the value of it. And that's not
Yeah.
everyone. That's like
Yeah.
specifically people with the channel of struggle, knowing what's worth struggling for by
Yeah.
knowing what's not worth struggling for. Because if you did this and you're at season one, you're like, nope, this is not worth struggling. Like I'm not, this is not happening. Like I don't have the energy for this. But sometimes it's like when things get hard, you get harder basically. And then it's
Yeah,
like,
pretty much. Yeah.
this is worth it.
Mm-hmm. The struggle, that is so funny. My best friend's gonna listen to this and be like, "See, I told you. He's saying what I told you all the time."
Yeah.
And it's
He doesn't
funny because
even
my
know you.
best he doesn't even know you, literally reading you to filth.
Yeah.
Her and my daughter actually have really similar human design, so they're
Mm.
like little mirrors of each other, and they butt heads too. Not so
Yeah.
much anymore, but when my daughter was little, she would like go head to head with her. She's like, "I'm not the one. You're not trying me, little kid." So
That's so
it's
funny.
interesting. And speaking of love, I know a lot of people when I do readings, I do a lot of pop-up markets. I get a lot of people that have love questions. And I tell
Yeah.
people all the time, like, I'm not the reader for love questions because I guarantee you 9 out of 10 times we're not going to talk about them. Like, first of all, if you have to worry about Johnny, Johnny's not the one. Like, the one's not gonna, and granted, we're human, we're gonna have human emotions, but if you're sitting at my table questioning somebody so much, let's just say they're probably not good for you. And
Right.
the reading always goes back to them and how they need to work on themselves because we're going to bring in lessons, we're going to bring in reflections of ourselves, we're going to bring in I will say it till I'm blue in the face, opportunities to overcome obstacles. And a lot
Mm.
of that mirrors in intimate relationships. And I've seen that a lot, childhood crap that you bring into adulthood that makes you date certain people and whatnot. But I'm going up on like 3 years, and I actually just went on a date like 2 weeks ago for the first time in almost 3 years. But I
Oh.
really took the time to like be with myself and to learn more about why I was choosing the partners that I chose. Is
Hmm.
there something in the human design that could help people navigate that space?
100%. A lot of things. In terms of human design, Ra, and I love this because this mirrors my studies and a lot of the ancient studies, says that the soulmate is your body. Like the
Mm,
soul's mate is the body. And so, it's beautiful that you just, turn the tables because yeah, most people's their love, they're projecting the love. They're like, you give me this because I've always wanted this and it's not for somebody else to give you. And in fact, it's impossible, even if they are giving it to you, you're not
mhm,
going to be able to receive it because you haven't spent any time practicing receiving.
mhm,
You spent time looking for it externally because you didn't have it. And so the mind again is just at work. Uh, when it comes to love, a lot of people think that love is in the heart, and that is fundamentally it just doesn't necessarily make sense because the heart is just it's like perseverance. It's like the heart
mhm,
just goes. The thing that filters out all the BS, that loves unconditionally, that's the spleen. And
mhm,
it's the purification of your blood and moving blood through your system. And this is the in human design, this is the G center, which handles direction, identity, and love. And so when it comes to love, one of the things that if people are not, experiencing the type of love that they want to have in their life, number one, of course, they look at themselves, but you also got to look at your liver health and your ability to circulate your blood. And this is why
mhm,
walking is so important because walking is heavily underrated. People think that blood just flows because your heart is pumping, but your
mhm,
calves are the things that push blood up your legs in up through this kind of like main channel. The calves are like the lower heart of the body. This is why
mhm,
walking is so helpful because it increases circulation. And if you look at people that have how you say love issues or relationship issues, a lot of the times their livers are really weak and or they're putting a bunch of toxins in them like alcohol, and their circulation sucks because
mm,
the more cycles that your blood can do, and your blood is moving fast through your
yeah,
body, right? And so the ability to, again, just take all corners of the pool and fill it up by working on the physical body in terms of love, wonderful. Another thing about love is like 18 months. 18 months is the amount of time it takes for your brain to sort of like rewire a relationship in your mind. And so it's like you have a quote unquote bad relationship or toxic relationship, which I'm not super fans of those words because again, it's like that's the relationship you chose. If you're going to call it bad, you have bad judgment. Okay, let's not go there. Um,
Accountability.
right, exactly. Can we get some accountability, please? Um, that's one thing that you have to remain accountable to. You have to rewire your neurology, and it takes 18 months to do that. So like to hear,
Wow.
3 years, you've gone through two cycles, and I call them neurological sweeps, right? It's just like erasing the etch a
Hmm.
sketch. You've built up in your mind, this is what healthy relating is like. This is how I want to feel in a healthy relate. And you've had all of those because there's probably been suitors that came along and your sacral was like, But your mind was like, oh, he's really cute. He's got a nice car, good resources, could help me in here, could help me in there. But your gut's
Hmm.
like, And you chose to listen to your gut. Now, does
Hmm.
this mean this is going to be your soulmate? Again, no, because your body is your soulmate. And when it comes to love, again, our mind wants to fantasize it like a Disney movie, but sometimes it's like you're here to clear karma with people. You're here to learn lessons from people. And it's not that, people are utility, but they're not utility. We do
Hmm.
use each other, and it's okay to use each other as long as we're clear, transparent, and can comprehend this is how you're using me. It feels good. This is how I'm using you. It feels good. At some point, if it doesn't, you just communicate. Again, feeling safe. I'm not afraid I'm going to lose you because this doesn't feel good for me. So if I lose you, I also lose the thing that doesn't feel good. I've accomplished what I want, which is to have people in my life that are supportive of me
Hmm.
and to know the difference somatically in the body between this is not right and oh, this so and so's boyfriend does this and you should, right? It's just like the
Yeah.
comparison, the chatty monkey mind. And so yeah, when it comes to love, there's a lot of really cool ways to look at love. And then in terms of human design, we also have the ability to take charts and overlay them on top of each other, which is one of my
Oh,
favorite
wow.
things to do because you get to see where one person in the relationship is compromised. Like if
Hmm.
you're compromised on your channel of struggle, let's just say this guy is has one of the gates that you have a channel on, like let's
Hmm.
say we talked about that channel of surrender, the 4426. That's fear of the past, and that's also the will to be the best. Let's say he has fear of the past as well. Let's say he
Hmm.
has gate 44 but he doesn't have the other one. He's compromised in that. You
Hmm.
will know for yourself what you need to be the best. For him, he might start doing what you're doing. He might start competing with you, and it creates a compromise in himself because he's not supposed to have an awareness of what to do all the
Hmm.
time to be the best. He's just supposed to have the fear of the past. He's supposed to be able to recognize when you're out of your alignment and when you're in alignment, but not necessarily to when you're in alignment, he starts mirroring you. That creates not self, that
Mm.
creates distortions, and that creates more projection, and that creates more hiding from the truth. And again, those are usually the things that people fight about.
Wow.
Yeah.
Have you had couples go to you to like do couple because I've had people come to my table and do like couple readings together and it's so
Yeah.
interesting.
Oh yeah. It was and it's funny too because it's like oftentimes it's like one person trying to get the other person to realize their impact on them. That's
Yeah.
pretty much like 90% of the time it's that. And so I can usually read that, and the key with that, right, is to not necessarily go for it directly. I'm kind of insidious in this way where I'm like, you think I'm on your side, but I'm about to like spin you around on yourself and make you realize that you have a huge impact and you're hiding from it, usually because it's like, they're insecure or that's the thing they're working on. And they
Hmm.
don't want to be called out for like, oh, I've been working on this for a long time, but it's not working. It's like people don't want to ask for help. And so
Yeah.
that's one of the main things that it is whoever is, committing the crime or like, disrespecting or like they're working on it. They're just doing it super inefficiently and they
Yeah.
don't, they don't know who can help them. But again, it's like
Wow.
you have to help yourself. You have to get to this place where you're like, okay, I'm going to work on my nervous system. You're going to work on your nervous system. And if we don't level up together, then stepping away is the only answer. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, I get a lot of people that will come asking about, and then sometimes they'll ask about one thing, but
Hmm.
I look at the charts and I'm like, but what about this thing? And they'll be like, oh, shit. Because the reality is, most people are making issues of compromised channels and electromagnetic channels. Electromagnetic is when you have, like let's say he has gate 20, which would connect your gate 34 to your throat. So when
Hmm.
you're around him, let's say you feel like more expressive. When he's around you, he feels more powerful. It's like a good thing. Most
Hmm.
people are going to obsess over things that don't actually matter. Like they're going to
Yeah.
obsess over the little problem of their compromise rather than just recognizing, like, oh, this is a relationship. We're human beings, and sometimes we're going to bump into this wall. Sometimes we're going to stub this toe. It's like, how you say, there's sometimes on the land, I just like walk barefoot everywhere, and sometimes there's these like little thorny like little things that like come up out of the ground. Like I've cut them, but they're just like super deep in the ground, and I
Hmm.
can't get them out unless I get like an excavator. And so one of the analogies that my brain just came up with, it's like stubbing your toe on that thing over and over and over again and being like, why don't I just remove this, and having this whole debate when it's like I could just freaking walk around it. Like
It's so simple.
some things are worth more, or they're more effort than they're worth to remove it. And if you just
Hmm.
navigate accordingly, like this part of the sea, it's very choppy, it's very windy. Doesn't mean we avoid it. It means that we can actually be more prepared and we can both hunker down. Because again,
Yeah.
it's usually those compromised channels, it's not like you're doing something wrong. It's like you do something different or you handle things in a different way. You see things from a different perspective. And that a lot of the time is one of the things that attracts us to each other. So you're
Hmm.
attracted, like, just to like put you on blast again, you're attracted to like people with emotional depth because you have the undefined emotional center. You're attracted to people that can speak powerfully because you have the
Yeah.
undefined throat center. You're attracted to people with original ideas and new
Hmm.
ideas and details around their ideas because these are things that you're not.
Yeah.
Right. And it's not about as a relationship, if you try and make the other person what you want them to be, rather than just finding somebody who is themselves, then you don't have to like work on the other person. And of course, that
Yeah.
that requires you to be alone for a little while, usually, and usually
Hmm.
longer than people want. And I've done this 18-month trick with a lot of people and a lot of my clients. And literally, like one of my friends just got engaged and it was 2 years ago, I think, that we had our session. Might even be like 18, 19 months that we had our session. And so this is like a formula in terms of love.
Wow.
Anyone out there is like, if you're not happy with your relationship, like take 18 months off. And I know that sounds kind
Hmm.
of drastic. And also it's like, how long do you want things to go on the same way? Because if
Yes.
you do something different, that's the only way to get a different outcome. You're not going to do the same thing and get a different outcome. That's like literally the
Insanity.
definition of insanity. Exactly.
Hmm.
So, yeah, 18 months, little detox from friend groups, pull away. Like it's okay to isolate yourself and be a hermit for a little bit. Is
Hmm.
one of the healthiest things that you can do. And as long as you have something that can, again, help you to manage the sort of symptoms of that, like the death throes, like the grieving process is very, very important, but it's not necessarily something that's entirely complicated. Like
Yeah.
it's just learning how to not run away instead of, going to smoke or going to drink or calling your friends. Get a 100-pound sandbag and put the sandbag on your chest, laying down, and do some deep pressure therapy. That's gonna
Wow.
that's gonna make your whole midline, your whole emotional processing systems. It's gonna put them under stress because they're under stress. So the physical stress is gonna match the energetic stress, and you'll be able to like, appropriately align when something is energetically and physically stressful, and be able to recognize when something is just energetically stressful, but not physically
Hmm.
stressful. So that's not my problem. That kind of
Yeah.
stuff. Being able to navigate of like, or this isn't actually a problem. This is just life, right? This is just a part of life. And if I just
Hmm.
learn how to tolerate it and not run away from it, it's not that life gets easier. It's just you just get stronger.
Oh my gosh, that part. I'm always like, this is just like a spiritual gym. If you work
Yeah.
out your spiritual muscles, but to do that, you have to go through the hard things. You have to do hard things. And a lot of people are scared to do that, and that's the tricky part, and that's something that I struggle in seeing with people is I could feel when I do these readings because I go so in depth with them. I always tell them like this is not going to be surface level. Like my kid, like she mans the front of the table and she takes a little sign-in sheet and she's sitting there with a like tissue box like ready for them to cry because sorry. She already knows like they're about to start crying and breaking down. 90% of people leave my table like broken down in the best way possible. because we don't go surface level. Like I want to give you an opportunity to really make a shift in your life so we don't go through those cycles and you're willing to tackle those low frequency energies, those old experiences, whatever it is in your life. And that's why I was just so excited to talk to you and pick your brain a little bit because if people can have the opportunity to get a session with you and get their readings done, it is like there's like, it's like a little team effort. It takes a village. Like I think Western therapy is great. I'm by the grace of God, I plan on going to call back to college next year to get my master's to become a therapist in transpersonal psychology because I want to, of course, go the spiritual version of psychology.
Right.
Um, but just, because nothing could just be regular with me. It's got to be spiritual. But, it's like I just love being able to talk to different people on this podcast, whether it's like I want to talk to a priest. I don't know if priests are allowed to do podcasts, but like I would love to get like a Catholic
Oh.
priest on here. Maybe talking to somebody who's Jewish. Like I want to talk to everybody because I really
Mhm.
respect religion and spirituality and viewpoints. And there's this place out here in San Diego. It's called what is it? Self-realization temple. And
And
it's
so
so
yes.
amazing. Yeah, there's one in Encinitas and there's one here in San Diego. So I go to the services on Sunday out here because it's
Okay.
like 10 minutes from where I live. Like I just somehow got so blessed to be like right next to it. In this past weekend they talked about like religion is when you don't know too much about religion, you're mad at people for not believing what you believe. And spirituality is more about like I love everybody regardless. And a big reason why I started the podcast is because I think that there's beauty in all of it. And I don't knock anybody's hustle. I don't try to put my beliefs on anybody, but I just love to hear everyone's viewpoints and what they believe in, what they've been through, and what they can offer the collective because we're just all out here kind of winging it at the end of the day and figuring it out as we go. And I think
Yeah,
human design is
unless you
great.
have human design, then you got the cheat codes, right?
The cheat codes. That's all I'm saying. You guys got to jump on a session. It's
Yeah.
so interesting. Like I said, that one lady gave me a really good in-depth, but I definitely want to go down the rabbit hole with you in the best way and dig a little bit deeper.
Totally. You've got, and to what you were speaking to, not only do you have the channel of exploration, which connects your sacral to your G center, so that again, center of love and identity and direction, you have power going to the part of your G center that is like, which behaviors are the best, which ones work the best in society. And on top of that, you have all three gates that go to the throat. So you have gate seven, which is army, loyalty. It's the identity of like being trustworthy from the past. You have one, which is the creative, again, knowing yourself through the creations, your podcast. And then you have 13, which is fellowship, which is like someone I can trust moving forward. And they're all reaching up for the gate. So they're looking for the person with influence. They're looking for the person who knows which contributions make sense. They're looking for the person that knows how to keep things private and what things need to be shared. And so these are energetic, and just to say that of like your exploration is so much more than just some like interest. It's like a literal, like you were designed as like the perfect like little perch to find the people who have the voice of the now. Here's what's going on in the world. The people who have, even with your undefined solar plexus, you have gate 22 reaching up towards gate 12, which is the gate of caution. Like, what things should people avoid? I don't necessarily know for myself. Like, I know how to like open up and listen, but I'm not necessarily here to be the one. What things might people avoid? And so there's a lot of things in your chart, yeah, that are just like and I call it not that you're incompetent, but I call it an unconscious competent in the sense that
Mm.
like you don't necessarily know why you are the way you are, but you work well. But when you discover why you are the way that you are, then you can become a conscious competent. Then you can become aware of how it is that you work. And then again, like you were saying with the religion and spirituality, not judge people
Hmm.
for not knowing how they work or not working the way that you work. Yeah, you're a great podcast host in that sense.
Awesome.
And this
I
you
love
just have to
that.
keep going, and the struggle is going to be worth it because it's literally just a making a career out of your design and discovering all the different types of incarnations that are available in the world.
That just like bing, it made so much sense.
Yeah.
And that's like another thing because I mean, I feel like I've lived 1,000 lives. Like I really like veered off on my own when I was like 15 and kind of just been struggling and figuring it out ever since. So
Hmm.
the word struggles, and it's funny too because I have the word surrender tattooed like right, you can't really see it, like right there.
Oh
Because
yeah.
I'm always like, and it's on my right hand. So when I'm writing, when I'm doing anything, I'm looking at that word, like just surrender. Like, you know what you signed up for. Just keep thugging it out and keep pushing through. And I know we've talked a lot of terminology, a lot of big words, and a lot of people aren't familiar with human design. I'm really blessed with spirituality in my village. Like everyone, I come from a line of women who were energy workers. My abuelas were all curanderas. My cousins, like I have a cousin that like forages the river up in Fresno to find like herbs. I have another one that her specialty is she's like a sabadora. She's very big with massaging and hands. Like she can put her hands on you, like my grandma Juana, and you're like instantly like back to wellness.
Mm.
So I'm very blessed in the sense of none of this isn't abnormal to me. It's very normal to me. But for those that aren't too familiar with human design, and we've used a lot of terminology and whatnot, can you give them a quick breakdown on like the core pieces of their human design and what they mean?
Yeah. So the main thing that I think is really important for people to recognize is their authority, which is which organ inside you, which energy center is your bedrock of truth. And not necessarily like the truth with a capital T, but it's like the truth in your heart. Like my solar plexus doesn't feel good here. My emotions don't feel seen. My sacral, I don't feel lit up by this. I don't have any energy for this. My spleen, I don't feel safe here. Because that is the one thing that if you actually learn how to access that inner authority, you can make it stronger. And that's one of the most important things to manifest is your inner authority. And
Mm,
for most people, you're unable to manifest your inner authority simply because, again, the world around you is too strong or your conditioning is too strong. So, inner authority is what you use to manifest your signature, which is like how you're supposed to be in the world. And if you go to my website and you type in your information, you can get, oh, I'm splenic authority, my signature is surprise, etc. Um, and you use that as a means of, again, strengthening your nervous system and your ability to preserve your inner authority and see clearly where your inner authority can be utilized. From all
mhm,
that, that's where your strategy comes from, whether it's wait for an invitation, respond with the uh-huh, that's the sacral, that's 70% of the population is that way. Manifestors are here to initiate, which means just like, you know, set things in motion, tell people what you're doing, leave notes, over initiate because most manifestors are under initiating. And then if you're a reflector, just seriously just come join my community because there's nothing that can help you aside from me. None of the not that none of the reflectors are good, but again, it's just like you were saying, there's so much terminology here
mhm.
in human design. And even just now, it's like, oh, there's all of these words. It's like I really just want people to experience what it feels like to puff your cheeks up with air, turn your head to the side, and then swallow without losing the pressure in your cheeks. Tricky, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's like in terms of terminology, and I kind of want to shift my answer is like, you know, you don't need to know the terms, and knowing the terms and revealing the terms and their meanings and definition isn't going to plug
Hmm.
the lamp back in. Like we have to physically plug the lamp back in, and through that, you can learn it. And we have a whole community called the Archive and that we teach something called sensory design, which is, again, like I was saying at the beginning, this bridge between human design and the body. Because human design is a system that is supposed to help you surrender to your body. And yet you have people that are still sick, still can't wait for an invitation, still have no idea where their inner authority is in their body, but they know everything about human design.
Yeah.
And so when again, the reason I started with inner authority and conditioning is because those are the two things that you need to know about your body graph to successfully have a sort of like sensory design or a sensory deconditioning experiment in the archive. You got to know which of your organs are you going to like remember to come back to, whether it's your spleen, whether it's your sacral. For me, I'm a reflector, so it's like all of them. Great. I have to be in
Mhm.
touch with all of them. Not that I get envious of people that have sacral, but it's just like it's so simple. Just
Yeah.
drop in your gut, like pressurize your pelvic floor, make your pelvis bigger, make your neck bigger. Let that energy just flow up. It's always there. And
Yeah.
so, in that sense, it's when you connect with your inner authority, then you can actually, and it's not that the fight is like you have to destroy the external authority or your conditioning, but you actually have something to push against rather
Mm.
than again just going in circles. Your inner authority comes online and you can push and then you can actually orient yourself and find center. It's so funny. A lot of the times when, if I'm leading groups, I tell people to close their eyes and I say, find center. And people go like this and they relax and their spines get all weird. And I'm like, I didn't say find relaxed. I said find centered. Center is like an actual activation. It's an inflation of this midline. It's of the esophagus off from hole to hole.
Yeah.
It's inflation and it's a readiness. It's a neutral position. It's not relaxed. It's not tight. It's just like poised and ready. And there's a
Yeah.
difference between like again, inflated posture, the like goopy kind of like you see it a lot with like yogis, especially like good
Mm-hmm.
dudes that are obviously just like there for the yoga pants.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
got that like goopy, gumpy like posture. And it is again, it's not bad, but it's just like when you start to learn the language of the body and you realize that you can lie all you want with your mouth, but your body doesn't lie.
Yeah.
It's like being unplugged from the matrix. And this
Yeah.
is my partner Pasha. I owe so much of this insight and wisdom to him because he's the one who saw me and was like, Marco, you have so much information and your posture is so good, but I can tell like you're still kind of in pain, aren't you? And I'm like, yeah, how do you know that? He's like, your body is really symmetrical, but when I watch the way you walk, there's this and this and this. So it's like being able to decode, again, not just the posture on the outside,
Yeah.
but the posture of your organs on the inside. And this is actually one of the things I want to leave your audience with. It's called a heart hug, and it's
Mhm.
something that is always happening, but it's not happening enough that people recognize how powerful and how good it feels. And so the concept is this. Especially when you're doing breath work, everyone is looking for lung capacity, right? Let's say these are your ribs. When you inhale, your lungs usually push your ribs out, which is what
Mm.
they're supposed to do. What a lot of people don't realize is that your heart is right here. And so when your lungs inflate, they also put pressure on your heart. That's why a lot of the times when people start to feel unsafe, they start hyperventilating. Now their heart is like, oh, oh, ow, ow, ow. Like the
Oh,
lungs are like beating up the heart. And so one of the exercises that I like to do is I just say, take a deep breath, inflate your lungs, let your ribs expand, get the big lungs, and then exhale, push all of your air out. Now you use your arms, kind of create like a wall and a brace. Now, when you inhale, don't let your lungs go out. Let your lungs hug your heart and pressurize your heart. Put pressure on your heart with your lungs. There you go. Yeah. And now exhale.
ooh,
Yeah.
you can literally feel that.
Yeah.
Like you could feel it like in my throat.
Yeah.
Felt to go up.
Exactly. Exactly. Again,
Wow.
this is an introduction to pressure, again, as a physical tangible thing that then can translate to being able to tolerate mental pressure,
Mhm.
emotional pressure, and again, literally physical pressure expectations from the external world. And
Yeah.
then again, for you having the defined heart, doing that, like I would do that as like a regular exercise, like pressurize your heart. And then what's really cool is being able to pressurize your heart. And then when you exhale, instead of that being the release, you keep the pressure on. And because I can like pressurize my heart while I'm talking to you. And you
Yeah.
probably can tell because my voice changed, my posture changed a little bit.
Hmm.
But being able to stabilize your own heart from the inside, this makes it so that not that you don't want hugs from other people, but that you don't need hugs from other people.
Yeah.
Your heart feels safe because now it's pressurized.
Yeah.
Now there's not a lot of like jostling and wobbling around, like literally a concussion,
Hmm.
right? Is when your brain just like whacks around on the inside of your skull. But you can pressurize your brain in the same way that you can pressurize your heart. And you can pressurize your intestines and your liver and your kidneys and your adrenals. And that's one of the
Yeah.
things too, like pressurizing your adrenals. A lot of people will be like, oh, I don't want to be stressed. I'm like, no, you want to be stressed. You just want to learn how to handle stress better. How do
Yes.
you do that? Saturate your kidneys with blood, fill them up with blood, and then learn how to squeeze them with other parts of your body. Because again, we work with contrast. So there's all these
Hmm.
different ways that we're going to can create intersecting forces, and they're not competing forces. I mean, they are
Yeah.
competing forces, but I like the word co-opetition, like they're
Hmm.
cooperative, but they are in competition with each other. Like the left foot wants to go further than the right foot, and the right foot wants to go further than the left foot. And whoever does that the best is the fastest runner.
Hmm.
Same thing with the left and right, love them equally, but treat them appropriately. They're different,
Yeah.
right? So anyway, that's the heart hug. And again, you don't need to know any terminology to just discover that. And most people, again, we're already doing it. Like it's already there's already pressure on our heart. It's just not appropriate. And
Mm-hmm.
we've never given the idea of like, oh, instead of trying to like open my heart up, what happens when I squish my heart?
Yeah.
Freak out? Was there a panic? Was there oh my God, this feels so good. Why don't I do this more? And then 3 weeks later you do it again and you're like, oh my God, I didn't do this for 3 weeks. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like again, it's the simple things that make the biggest difference over time. And it's the mind that wants to know all the terminology, but it's the
Mm-hmm.
body that needs the attention. And the
Yeah.
body doesn't communicate with the language and all the things that we're doing here. But it helps. It helps point to
Mm-hmm.
it.
Yeah, it really is mind, body, spirit. It
Mhm.
is. And at the beginning of this, and we'll wrap it up because I've taken enough of your time and I got a million more questions, but we're gonna leave it with that. The beginning of all of my spiritual journey, like I said, I come from a line of women who have done this, but it doesn't mean that I have not gone through the trenches to get to where I am at and
Of
still
course.
got so much work to do because we're just ongoing students. I would hope I am at least. I met this amazing shaman on a beach randomly one day and he really sparked this entire process, but I started with the body because I was in an 8 year depression and postpartum and losing my
Mm.
grandmas and all started with the body, then it went to the spirit. But it's really like there's so many aspects to it, but I really feel that human design taps into a little bit of everything and don't overcomplicate it and just it's not that serious and it can really be simple if you wanted to. And having something like this and being able to talk to people like yourself and get the little cheat codes to help us navigate, work smarter, not harder, is what I'm trying to say.
Right. Yeah. And what's smart is again, if you're a fish, like learn to love the ocean.
Yeah.
Learn to love your gills and the way that you are. That's actually a much easier thing to do. It's only hard now because we have smartphones in front of us and we can compare ourselves to
Oh
a whole bunch of
gosh.
different people, right?
Yeah.
And not that that's a bad thing either. That just makes it more challenging to be yourself, which also means it's going to be more rewarding to be yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Other people are going to recognize that, and more people are also going to hate on that because
Mm.
they'll feel insecure about their own ability to be authentic and their mind will create all kinds of labyrinths to hide, and they're not the enemy, kind of like the Matrix, but they can very quickly become an agent of the system that's seeking to oppress us. Um, but we're all the one. We're all the one.
Yeah. Really, we really are. I think everyone's a beautiful opportunity to learn, to grow, to be inspired. So snatching those opportunities every moment you can.
Truly, truly.
You've been so amazing. And I mentioned having my last question of the session being if there was a theme song to your life, what would it be?
Oh man, I was wondering if you were going to forget about that. Um,
No.
makes sense though, given your background, why that's important. Um, and I have thought about it. Of course, being a reflector, I'm like, I don't have 28 days to think about this. The thing that I've been obsessed with for 28 days is this group called Sleep Token. Have you heard of them before?
No.
They're like a pretty like progressive rock band. They have a lot of like heavier elements, but it's also like rock and R&B. I'm about to send you down a whole rabbit hole of music, but they just came out with an album, but they're a fully anonymous band. Like they wear masks, people don't want to know their identity. They have lore about like this god sleep that told them to like make music, and they're like, okay,
What?
and they're blowing up right now. It's wild. Their marketing is brilliant too. They're like sending people on like encrypted, like they're sending, putting coordinates out there and like URLs that you have to copy paste. It's not like a quick, easy link. So they're making it hard for
What?
people to find their stuff, but it's just blowing up. The fan base is insane. But there's a song called Past Lives but it's brilliant and it uses, I'm a kind of a geek, so I grew up playing Zelda and
Oh, I
a
love
lick from
that.
there's a lick from this track that it sounds very much like this fairy fountain. The whole album is so good, and that song in particular is like how it's like you don't even recognize yourself anymore. And he talks about
Mm-hmm.
like the past self, and also like, are you gonna dance with me? Like who's actually here with me? And in the past, I would say 2 years, especially with becoming a father, it's become very clear who's gonna dance on the line with me, and who's not. And that's something that really pained me because I really want everyone to be able to dance on the line with me. But I also realize that if I don't be really exclusive and choosy with who I want to dance on the line with, what line are we actually dancing on? You know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so yeah, it's really good. It's like if you stand for nothing,
fall for
Like what
anything.
exactly. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
I think that's how it
Exactly.
goes.
That's it. Yeah. And so I've fallen for a lot of anythings before, and I'm like at a stage in my life where I have a daughter. So I'm like, I want men to be better. I want women to be better. And not because, you should be better, but because you can be better.
Yeah.
You can.
Why
Why not?
not?
There's
Like,
there's
why
so
would you
many
not
reasons.
want to be better?
Exactly. So that's Past Life by Sleep Token. Even in Arcadia is the whole album incredible. And it's like I'll literally do shadow work to this. Like I'll have times when I'm like really sad and I'll put on one of their tracks, Damocles or Infinite Baths. And it's crazy because it has like all these different arcs of like really sad, kind of like, or not sad,
Hmm.
but kind of melancholy.
Yeah.
Then it's like boom, 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 and then it goes hard. And so part of, again, similar to heart rate variability as a marker for health, go high up, calm yourself down, take your heart
Hmm.
rate high, bring it down. Emotional variability is also very important to be able to go from sadness down into anger, down into deeper sadness, down into deeper anger. And it's like a whole, that's like my shamanic uh, playlist when I don't really do breath work anymore, but when I
Yeah.
do my design, my sensory design stuff, sometimes I'll put that on and it'll stir up some emotions. And also some of their music is in 3/3, the da 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 da,
Oh,
which is that shamanic kind of trance-like hypnotic rhythm. So anyway, huge Sleep Token fan over here. And I just found them
that's
like
so
a couple
interesting.
months ago. It's
How
wild.
funny.
Yeah, such a journey.
Wow. It's funny. My brother's nickname is Token. He's a reflector too, like you.
Oh,
Yeah.
very cool.
He's an interesting little character, though. I love watching his journey unfold. It's so, and he's a Scorpio, so it's just he's got
Oh,
all the.
goodness.
Yeah, he's an interesting one.
I love that.
Oh my
Love
gosh,
that.
Raja, go. The dogs
How many
going.
dogs do you have over there?
Well, I have the Yorkie, and then we
Yep.
have a Rottweiler, Raja Go, who's losing her mind right now, and then the healer that's picking on her behind me.
Oh, that's sweet.
They are so
Love it.
funny.
I grew up in San Diego, by the way. I didn't catch that. Yeah, I
What?
grew up in Bonita, and I spent a lot of time in Encinitas. So when you mentioned that, I was like, oh, it's I don't necessarily know why I do things all the time. Like some of it is
Yeah,
mental, but a lot of it is just like trusting the moon as my human design tells me to do. And it kind of makes sense now why I was immediately like, yeah, because I get a lot of people asking me like, can we get on podcasts? And I'll usually kind of like check them out. And not most of the time I say no, but sometimes I say no just because I'm like
yeah.
not feeling like I really connect with this person. But when your message came across, I was like, oh, this is San Diego sister. So that kind of makes sense.
How funny. And there's a full moon tomorrow. We got the full moon in Sagittarius tomorrow. So
Oh,
this will
beautiful.
probably be out in July, but pretty
Right
much
on.
like the time's still here.
Right
Wow.
on.
So tell me your socials. Let everyone know where they
Yep.
can find you.
So Reiki Marco, ReikiMarco. That's my handle everywhere, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. I love TikTok. I go live to TikTok Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Hawaii Standard Time. So if anyone wants to come check in, ask questions, please feel free to do so. I have a private membership that I mentioned earlier called the Archive, where we're bridging the gap between human design and the fitness industry and movement just as a whole. It's only $37 a month or 333 for the whole year, which brings it down to like 27 a month. But it's a community, it's a classroom. We have a course that will take you through each of the centers and show you specific move sets, things you can do to activate those centers on a physical level so that you can actually start manifesting your inner authority, so that you can start to work with your conditioning to, again, manifest your signature and make your life what you were born to make it into. And it's just really fun. Like I like it more than Instagram. I'll go in there and comment. And also for the people that are in that archive, my lives are like basically office hours. So we tell everyone to
Oh,
post their body graphs in the archive, and then that way when I'm live, I have a special studio for people to join that I can see you're in the archive, and then I can just, if you have a question specifically about your chart. So they're basically like it's opportunities to get micro readings.
yeah,
And also it's again it's a different way to approach the human design experiment. Rather than learning the system, you
yeah.
learn the system that the system is based on, which is your body. And in my mind, this, you said mind, body, spirit. It's like body, spirit, mind. Mind for me
Hmm.
kind of like comes last in this equation because we're so obsessed with the mind. But yeah,
Yes.
reikimarco.com is also where you're going to be able to find the links. All of everything is linked together, pretty easy to find. This was so much fun. Thank you for inviting
Yeah.
me on. I'd love to do another one if you still have
Oh,
more questions. I love the
oh, I've
questions
got
that you
so
ask.
many questions. Like I've got them all. Even as we go, they just pop up. And when it comes to your archive and
Mhm.
getting readings with yourself and whatnot, it definitely is an investment, and you're in the longest relationship with yourself. So here you go, invest wisely.
Totally, totally.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for your time. It genuinely was an honor. I appreciate every moment, and being able to spread some awareness and ascension in the collective is the goal. So here we go.
Here we go. Thank you for all the work that you're doing, and I have a feeling this is all going to pay off for you as well.
Period.
It's so exciting. So exciting. Just like again with the like you said, the investments into the studio and some of the big moves that you're gonna make. Um,
Hmm.
that's what separates again, and especially with that channel of struggle. There's a lot of individuality there that other people won't necessarily see, and that's the whole point, is to like be an individual in the world rather than just like another like little carbon copy
Hmm.
spiritual person.
Copy
So
paste.
yeah, exactly. So proud of you. You're kicking so much butt. It's awesome to connect with you, and I'll see
Thank
you
you.
in the archive and in some of the other ways.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Yes, indeed.
Thanks.